What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's start it with our first news. Strickland may be the toughest challenge yet for Khamzat Chimaev. Over the years, Chimaev has dominated nearly every opponent he's faced in the UFC, bulldozing through the competition with his relentless pressure, suffocating wrestling, and elite top control. Aside from close battles with Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman, no one has truly pushed him to the brink. Because of this dominance, many believe Khamzat is poised to rule the middleweight division for years to come. However, during a recent episode of the Jackson podcast, former UFC champion Luke Rockhold shared an interesting perspective. Despite his long-standing rivalry and verbal exchanges with Strickland, Rockhold admitted that Strickland might be the most difficult stylistic matchup for Chimaev. He explained, "I hate to say it, but Strickland should win a fight like that. He's probably the toughest test for him. I'm not a fan, but he's annoyingly hard to hold down. He may not be elite on the ground, but he knows how to get back up, and that's a huge factor against someone like Khamzat." Rockhold emphasized that Chimaev's biggest strength lies in his grappling dominance. If an opponent can consistently get back to their feet and force Khamzat to strike, the fight dynamic changes entirely. If Khamzat can't keep a guy down, Rockhold noted, he struggles to find his rhythm standing. Another intriguing element is that both fighters have previously trained together at Extreme Couture, giving each man a sense of the other's tendencies. This familiarity could influence their confidence and approach if they ever meet inside the octagon. Still, Rockhold cautioned that Strickland must first rebuild momentum after his recent loss to Dricus du Plessis by unanimous decision in February. If Strickland returns to form, a future clash between him and Chimaev could be one of the most compelling stylistic battles in the middleweight division. Before we jump into the next story, we have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon. It really helps us out, and ensures you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Jack Della Maddalena has made it clear that he's interested in facing Khamzat Chimaev in the future, a matchup that would undoubtedly capture the attention of the entire MMA world. During a recent interview with New York Post Sports, the rising Australian star discussed his ambitions as a champion and his long-term goals in the UFC. While Della Maddalena remains focused on dominating his own division, he didn't shy away from the idea of eventually moving up to challenge the current middleweight champion, Khamzat Chimaev. "I would like to be a defending champion," Della Maddalena said confidently. "I respect champions who clean out their divisions before moving up. That's the kind of legacy I want to build. I look at someone like Islam Makhachev. He's done everything he needed to do at lightweight, defended his title, and only then thought about taking on new challenges. I really respect that approach." The Australian contender went on to explain that his current goal is to solidify his dominance by defending his title multiple times before even considering a move to another weight class. "I want to defend my belt several times. I want to fight the top contenders, prove myself over and over again, and make sure I'm the best in my division before thinking about a change," he added. When asked if a move to middleweight could be in his future, Della Maddalena didn't hesitate. "Yeah, for sure. I think so," he said with a grin. "I'd love to fight Khamzat at some point. If my career keeps going the way I plan, that would be an incredible challenge, and one I'd look forward to." Fans have already begun speculating about what a potential clash between Della Maddalena and Chimaev would look like. Both fighters possess aggressive striking styles and unshakable confidence, setting the stage for a potential super fight that could define a new era in the UFC. Move on to another news. The MMA community is buzzing after Mokaev's spectacular knockout victory, a statement performance that reignited calls for his return to the UFC. At a time when fans are already debating who could challenge Alexander Pantoyan next if he successfully defends his title at UFC 323, Mokaev seems to be making his case loud and clear. "Pick me." Once considered one of the brightest young prospects in the flyweight division, Mokaev's journey has been anything but smooth. Following his impressive win over Manel Kape at UFC 304, fans expected him to continue his rise within the promotion. However, Dana White shocked many when he announced that the UFC was no longer interested in retaining Mokaev's services, citing well-documented altercations outside the cage and what he described as attitude issues. Since his departure in 2024, Mokaev has been on a mission to prove himself once again. Competing in Brave CF, the 25-year-old undefeated fighter has racked up 3 consecutive wins, improving his professional record to an impressive 14-0. His latest triumph came in stunning fashion at Brave CF's recent event, where he captured the flyweight championship with a devastating head kick followed by precision punches to finish Gerard Burns. The knockout immediately went viral, sparking widespread reaction across social media. Fans and analysts alike began calling for his return to the UFC. One fan wrote, "Bring him back to the UFC. Dana White, stop the clownery. Mokaev is levels above most flyweights right now." Another added, "Mokaev would be Pantoja's biggest challenge. He's the only one who stands a real chance." Even critics admitted that Mokaev's performance was world-class, with one commentator noting, "That head kick knockout was pure dominance." The UFC needs to reconsider. With his flawless record, championship win, and renewed public support, the question now is clear: will Muhammad Mokaev make his long-awaited return to the UFC in 2026? Move on to another news. Mauricio Ruffy has revealed that the UFC is currently targeting a potential matchup between him and Renato Moicano, a fight he believes makes perfect sense given the current state of the lightweight division. Speaking in a recent interview, Ruffy explained that with several top contenders sidelined due to injuries, the timing and opportunity for a clash with Moicano couldn't be better. According to Ruffy, both Rafael Fiziev and Mateusz Gamrot are currently recovering from injuries, which has created an opening for a compelling, high-level matchup that could help determine the next wave of contenders in the lightweight rankings. "Right now, it just makes the most sense," Ruffy said. "Fiziev is injured, Gamrot is injured, and Moicano is the next guy available who's been active and winning. I like him, I respect him, but I think it's a great fight for both of us." Ruffy emphasized that his respect for Moicano doesn't diminish his competitive spirit. He views the matchup as an opportunity to test himself against one of the division's most experienced and well-rounded fighters. Moicano is a tough veteran. He's skilled everywhere, on the ground, on the feet, and he always comes to fight. That's the kind of challenge I want. I'm not here to take easy fights. I want fights that push me to improve and get closer to the top. The Brazilian prospect also mentioned that he hopes the fight can be scheduled either by the end of this year or early next year, depending on UFC's event lineup. "If everything goes right, I'd love for it to happen before the year ends. If not, then early next year is perfect," Ruffy said. A matchup between Mauricio Ruffy and Renato Moicano would bring together two dynamic and aggressive fighters, a stylistic battle that fans are already anticipating as a potential fight of the night candidate. Move on to another news. Dana White has once again made significant changes to the UFC roster, parting ways with multiple fighters following the latest season of Dana White's Contender Series. As the promotion continues to add new talent through the show, roster adjustments have become inevitable, with the UFC making room for its next generation of prospects. This week, it was confirmed that Yanal Ashmus, Rolando Bedoya, and Kong Lee have all been released from the organization. Each fighter had moments of potential during their UFC tenure but ultimately struggled to find consistency inside the octagon. Yanal Ashmus, who compiled a record of 2 wins and 2 losses during his UFC run, was known for his aggressive striking and willingness to engage in exciting stand-up exchanges. However, after dropping a unanimous decision to Quillen Salk in June, the promotion decided to move in a different direction. Rolando Bedoya, meanwhile, faced a challenging stretch in the UFC, going winless in 4 appearances. Despite showing flashes of skill and toughness, Bedoya couldn't secure a victory. His most recent fight came in September, where he lost by decision to veteran lightweight Jamie Mullarkey. Finally, Kong Lee's tenure with the promotion came to an end after a 1-win, 3-loss record. Lee struggled to build momentum, and his last outing saw him stopped by Santiago Luna on September 13. The defeat marked his second consecutive loss by knockout, sealing his release from the roster. While being cut from the UFC is a setback, it doesn't necessarily mark the end of the road. Many fighters have rebounded from similar situations, rebuilt their records on the regional circuit, and earned their way back into the promotion. With talent, discipline, and determination, Ashmus, Bedoya, and Lee could still find a path back to the octagon in the future. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev has received a clear warning ahead of his highly anticipated welterweight title clash at UFC 322, where he is set to face reigning champion Jack Della Maddalena. The bout, scheduled for November 15, marks Makhachev's official debut at 170 pounds after vacating his lightweight title earlier this year, a decision made following his close friend Bilal Muhammad's loss to Maddalena back in May. Despite being a strong betting favorite, several analysts and former former champions believe Makhachev will need to deliver one of his best performances to dethrone Maddalena. Among them is former middleweight champion Michael Bisping, who recently discussed the matchup during a conversation with MMA journalist Mike Bone. Bisping highlighted the specific threats Maddalena poses to Makhachev, emphasizing that this will not be an easy fight for the pound-for-pound contender. When you look at Jack Della Maddalena, he might have lost his first 2 fights, but since then he's been unstoppable, Bisping said. He's a big, true welterweight with incredible boxing, probably the best in the UFC right now. His footwork, his ability to pivot, cut angles, and stay off the fence, that's going to be key against someone like Islam. Bisping also noted that Maddalena's sharp boxing-focused approach means he won't rely heavily on kicks, allowing him to maintain balance and counter Makhachev's takedown attempts more effectively. Fellow fighters have echoed similar sentiments. Aljamain Sterling, reacting to a clip of Maddalena's recent knockout, wrote, "JDM is a beast, but if he doesn't finish Islam early, I think Makhachev runs away with it." Still, Makhachev appears completely unfazed by the outside noise. Recently, he shared a lighthearted video teasing his manager Ali Abdelaziz, joking about learning microphone skills from him. Additionally, popular streamer Aiden Ross announced that Makhachev will appear on his livestream ahead of fight week, signaling that the Dagestani star is relaxed, focused, and ready to make history once again. Move on to another news. Jon Jones may hold a major advantage over Alex Pereira if the two ever meet inside the octagon, at least according to former UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping. Although the matchup has yet to be confirmed, both fighters have expressed interest in facing one another, potentially at the highly anticipated UFC White House card expected next year. Jones has made it clear that he wants to compete on the historic card, even as UFC President Dana White jokingly claimed there's a better chance of him never dropping an F-bomb again than seeing Jones return that soon. On the other side, Alex Pereira, the reigning 2-division champion, has also called for the super fight, fueling massive fan excitement over the possibility. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Bisping broke down why he believes Jones would enter the fight with a significant stylistic edge. "Let's be honest," Bisping said, "Jon Jones beat Cyril Gane by taking him down, and he would probably do the same to Alex Pereira. It's one of those matchups that really favors Jones. His wrestling, grappling, and experience at heavyweight make him a nightmare for Pereira." Bisping acknowledged Jones' legendary career and reminded fans that, despite debates over his activity and opponents, Jones remains one of the most complete mixed martial artists of all time. His ground game, his fight IQ, his composure, all of that gives him a big advantage. Pereira's striking is world-class, but he's still learning the grappling game, Bisping added. The conversation also turned to Jones' recent remarks about Tom Aspinall, who was forced to stop his fight with Cyril Gane after suffering eye pokes. Jones mocked Aspinall, labeling him a quitter, a claim Bisping strongly rejected. "To call the man a quitter is unfair," Bisping said. "If you're caught in a heel hook or your knee blows out, continuing isn't bravery, it's recklessness." As the debate continues, fans can only imagine what a clash between Jon Jones and Alex Pereira, two of the most dominant champions in modern UFC history, would look like. Move on to another news. UFC CEO Dana White has provided an encouraging update regarding Tom Aspinall's eye injury and the status of his highly anticipated rematch with Cyril Gane. Speaking during an appearance on the Jim Rome Show, White confirmed that Aspinall avoided any severe or long-term damage following the unfortunate end to their recent fight, which was halted due to an accidental eye poke. According to White, early medical evaluations have ruled out serious complications such as a detached retina or permanent eye damage, a major relief for both the British heavyweight contender and UFC fans. "He's at home, recovering right now," Dana said. "As soon as he's medically cleared to fight again, we'll get the rematch booked." It was devastating because that main event was really heating up and shaping to be an incredible fight. To have it end like that, with an eye poke, it's brutal. The original matchup between Aspinall and Gane was billed as a potential title eliminator, with both men ranked among the top heavyweights in the division. The fight showed early promise, as both fighters were finding their rhythm before the accidental foul brought it to an abrupt and unsatisfying end. White emphasized the UFC's commitment to ensuring the rematch happens, reiterating that the promotion is simply waiting for Aspinall's medical clearance before moving forward. "He's healing well, there's no detached retina or lasting damage, so once he's good to go, we'll make the fight again," White added. Fans and analysts alike have expressed excitement about seeing the bout run back, given both fighters' explosive styles and the unfinished business left inside the octagon. With Aspinall's recovery progressing smoothly, it seems only a matter of time before the heavyweight showdown is officially rescheduled, potentially setting the stage for one of the most anticipated rematches of the year.